government. Now, if these are not registered with the government, do you think they will have guaranteed salary? Think of it. Do you think they will get guaranteed salary? They will get, right, guaranteed, let's say, social welfare? No. So informal economy is not covered. All the informal economy is not covered. But having said so, please understand my next point also. Is government of India doing anything to provide protection to all of these people? Next question is the government of India or even the state governments, are they doing anything to provide protection to this? Of course, yes. For example, have you read that article? I have asked you to read it, but have you read that article regarding Rajasthan government's new bill? Rajasthan government's new bill where they want to provide social security benefits to these kind of informal workers. Yes or no? Right? So even the central government is doing something. State governments are also doing something. But having said so, please understand, you cannot implement these policies overnight. You cannot implement these policies overnight. It is very difficult to implement these policies overnight. I'm not talking about gig workers. Some of you are asking, sir, is it about gig workers? No, I'm not talking about gig workers. I'm talking about income protection. There is a bill, right, to provide income to this kind of people who are there in the informal economy. Right? We will discuss that later. Don't worry. That is what do you mean by gig worker, what do you mean by platform worker, etc., etc. We'll discuss that later when I take up employment. So most of the economy is not covered under taxation. Government provides a tax exemption to a lot of these taxpayers. Corporates get tax exemptions. Individuals get tax exemptions. As a result of this, tax expenditure bill is higher. That will have a impact on tax revenue collected. And there are a lot of issues related to GST as well. I've discussed them separately. If you want, you can write them, all of them individually also. Okay? Right, so these are some of the issues related to overall taxation structure in India. Now, the last part of the chapter is basically reforms that I will take up after the break. But before that, let me address the questions on you. GST is applied on import duty. Please understand, there is additional import taxes which have been subsumed under GST. Right? So there is a component of additional import duties on the imports. Which product is pay higher percentage of tax to government? There are a lot of products. And please understand, you cannot simply decide based on the tax rate whether the product will contribute highest to GST revenue. I hope you understand. Based on only rate, you cannot decide which of them will provide highest revenue. For example, what if I say a product market price is 1 crore, GST rate is 28%. And another product has a market price of, right, let's say 1 lakh rupees and the GST rate applicable is 18%. Now, based only on this information, please understand the point I'm trying to make here. Based on only this information, can you say first product has highest contributions under GST? Think of it. Do you think you have sufficient data to come to that conclusion? Anybody here, right? Please do let me know. I'm not yet taken the break. Please do let me know. Based on only this data, can you come to a conclusion first product will always contribute highest revenues to government? Of course, no. What if I say first product only one good is sold in this year? Second product 1 crore goods have been sold in this year. So obviously it will be the second product which will contribute highest amount of GST revenues. So again, there are a lot of products. Don't complicate it. Don't worry about it. Okay. Greedflation, I've explained that. Sir, GST on import duty. Okay, I've already addressed that as well. Okay. Now next, how seller of packet goods like biscuit, packet, chips, etc. gain profit through GST? How they will get profit through GST? My dear, if you're purchasing a packet of biscuit whose price is 10 rupee, that 10 rupees inclusive of profit as well as GST. Please, right, observe. Please observe. If you don't trust me, go to your kitchen during break. Go to the kitchen. Although your mother will start shouting at you, your father will start right shouting at you. Go to the kitchen. Imagine there's a packet of biscuit, take the packet of biscuit, or tea powder dabba is there, take it, right? Or a soft drink is there, please take it. Turn it around and see whatever is MRP, MRP is inclusive of profit as well as GST. So whatever MRP is you are paying, it is already including profit. Okay. Relationship between tax buoyancy and tax elasticity, both are different. Tax elasticity talks if there is a change in the tax rate, how much will be the change in the revenue collection. Tax buoyancy talks about if there is a change in the GDP, how much will be the change in the revenue collection. Both are different. So GST network is meant for producers and intermediaries only. All the stakeholders, all the producers, all the sellers, all the manufacturers will have to be registered under the GST network. Why cesses and surcharges are kept by the center itself? As per the Constitution of India, cesses are imposed and collected. Now, whether to give part of it to the states or not, it is entirely left to the central government. Okay, entirely left to the government. Sir, under the GST, number of taxpayers, tax revenue is increased also with volatility has increased. Yes, until last year, there was a lot of volatility. Volatility means a fluctuation. Fluctuation in the GST revenue collection was there until last year. Does informal sector and unorganized sector means the same? Generally, one and the same, but technically, slight difference is there. I'll talk about it when I take up employment. Unorganized unorganized means traditional sectors such as agriculture. Can we say that SEZ tax expenditure may cost government a negative opportunity cost? Again, do not assess any of these policies based on only one parameter. Please do not assess any of these parameters, any of these policies based on only one parameter. Because we, as of now, we have not discussed why SCZ was implemented. So when we discuss SCZ was implemented, you will understand what we are trying to achieve with SCZ, Special Economic Zone. There are larger objectives for SCZ. Taxation is not an objective of SCZ. Okay. Sir, can we say ITC's main reason for GST? What do you mean by main reason? Because when I started discussion GST, I was very clear. I said the central pillar, central theme why GST will work out in India is because we are going to provide ITC at every step. Okay. Okay, done. So let's take a break now. Let's take a break. I will restart the discussion at 8:28. We'll restart the discussion at 8:28. Take a break. Now, before I go forward, certain important points. Now, some of you, when I gave you articles last week on Friday, some of you told me that, sir, whatever articles you have given, we have received, but there is no magnification, or the quality of the articles deteriorate once we zoom in or magnify these articles. So coming Friday, that is after 3 days, I'll give you the same set of articles in addition to new articles related to what is the current affairs. I'll give you one more set of articles plus old last week's articles as well. But we'll try to ensure that separately it will be given to you, right? Rather than sending it to you with the annotated PPTs. Because when we give it in the form of annotated PPTs, generally the quality is getting deteriorated. So we will try to ensure that somehow, right? Let's find out somehow separately if these articles can be sent to you through the system. Don't worry, right? We will ensure that you will get those articles. With that caveat, let's start. Let's start. So certain reforms have been implemented by the government, right? GST, etc. we have discussed. Now, let's discuss one more set of reforms, a basic idea. That is the concept of honoring the honest, right? Transparent taxation, honoring the honest. Now, this kind of initiative was announced by the government in 2019 and finally was launched in 2020. This initiative was launched by the government of India in 2020. Now, what are they trying to do under this initiative of honoring the honest? There are three very important pillars of this initiative. One is called as a faceless assessment. Second one is a faceless appeal. Third one is a taxpayer charter. And one is a faceless assessment. Second one is a faceless appeal. Third one is a taxpayer charter. Now, what is this concept of faceless assessment, appeal, and charter? Now, let me start with the first one. That is a faceless assessment. Now, understand the logic behind the assessment concept here. Assessment simply means evaluation. Assessment is nothing but evaluation. For example, imagine you will pay 100 rupee income tax to Government of India. Simple example, okay? You'll pay 100 rupees of income tax to Government of India. Now, please tell me, how should Government of India come to know what is your actual income? How will they come to know that? And based on that, how should they come to know how much investments you have done in the economy? How much deductions are you claiming? Right? Whether the taxes that you have paid, that is 100 rupee tax that you have paid, whether this is a correct tax or not. How should they come to know? Right? Argument is simple. If Government of India wants to find out whether the taxes you are paying is correct or not, they should have certain documents. All of you will agree with me? They should have certain documents, right? They should be receiving certain documents from your side which proves that your income is X rupee, your deductions are Y rupee, and your taxable salary is Z rupee. And on this, right, certain taxes are imposed, and that turns out to be 100 rupee. Right? I hope you understand. There should be certain system, certain documents should be there with the government, certain data should be there with the government to find out whether this is correct or wrong. Now that is done through the concept of assessment. That is done through the concept of assessment. What is assessment here? Right, day for yesterday, I'm pretty sure all of you know this. Right, the last date to file the IT returns. Right, until day for yesterday people have kept on filing IT returns. What do you mean by filing IT returns? IT stands for income tax returns. You basically file all the documents. Everything is online now. If you know this, everything is online. You will file all the documents, right, regarding, right, investment proof, regarding your income proof, regarding what kind of deductions you are claiming, and you'll file all these documents online with the government, and government will check all of these documents and then come to a conclusion, evaluate or assess whether the taxes you have paid, these are correct, whether the deductions you are claiming, right, whether these deductions are correct. Should government, right, collect more taxes from you? Should they collect a, right, lesser amount of taxes from you? They will assess everything. This is called as a IT returns assessment. But please tell me, is there a scope of corruption in the assessment concept? Let me know. Is there a scope of harassment of a taxpayer? Is there a scope of corruption, right, bureaucratic corruption in the concept of IT assessment? What is this scope of corruption I'm talking about? Let me give a very simple example. Imagine, understand this carefully. Imagine I will file IT documents. I know that these documents will be evaluated by you. Simple. Imagine I'm filing documents and I know that these documents will be evaluated by you. Now, please tell me, right, can I give you money? And you will simply say whatever documents you have filed are correct. So, can there be a scope of corruption in the system? Of course, yes. If the taxpayer knows who is the tax authority evaluating, and if the tax authority knows whose documents they are evaluating, if A knows B is right assessing the document, and B knows these are the documents of A, right, there can be, I'm not saying right, there can be harassment of the taxpayer, there can be, right, corruption in the system, there can be, right, no transparency in what they are doing, etc. That is the reason government has introduced the concept of faceless assessment. Now, what do you mean by faceless assessment? Simple. Whenever I file the document, which is the tax official? Who is the tax official assessing the tax documents? I will not know that. I hope you understand. Right? Once I file these income tax returns, which tax official will be looking into these tax returns? I will not come to know that. And second, whenever these documents, electronic documents, right? Everything is online now. I hope you know this. Everything is online. There is a website now set up by income tax department. You will have to log on to the website, file all these documents online itself. All of these is electronic now. Now, next point is, if these right information regarding my income, information regarding my deduction, all of this is given to a tax official without disclosing that these are my documents. I'll repeat. All these documents, right, online are sent to a tax official without disclosing the information about the taxpayer. Now, please tell me, will the tax officer come to know whose documents they are evaluating? Will they be able to harass me? Will they be able to get in touch with me? Will they be able to ask money from me? Absolutely no. So, argument is simple here. There is a centralized process which has been set up by the government. Centralized process. That is, all these documents will go to regional faceless assessment center, and from this center, the identity of the taxpayer will be hidden, identity of the taxpayer is masked, and the documents electronically are sent to other tax officials for assessment. This will basically promote transparency in the system. This will reduce opaqueness. This will reduce the cases of harassment of the taxpayer. It will increase the accountability of the tax officials. Right? So this concept is called as a faceless assessment. Now there is one more idea, faceless appeal. Under this initiative, there is one more, that is faceless appeal. Now what do you mean by faceless appeal? Imagine, right? Imagine you are the taxpayer. I'm the official. Electronically, your documents have come to me. I don't know who you are. I've checked all the documents. Now I'll come to a conclusion. This person has paid 100 rupee, but the person has not, right, disclosed certain other incomes. For example, imagine you have right, generated one more source of income. You have not disclosed it. You did not disclose it to the tax official, but they came to know there is a source of income. Now, what the tax authority will do? They will simply send the application. They will send the documents back to the center. From the center, now, right, a notice will be sent to you. The center knows who is this taxpayer. They have your PAN number. They have your address. They have your email ID. Now, from the center, right, a tax demand, a tax notice will be sent to you. Earlier, please remember this. Physically, the paper was sent to the taxpayer. Physically, they used to send a letter, tax demand notice. They used to send a letter to the taxpayer. Now they are not doing it. They will send a message to your registered mobile number. They'll send an email ID to a registered mobile number saying that, please see, this is the notice number. Log on to the right website. Right, the same website, log on to the website. There is a tax demand notice for you. Please reply to that. So now have a look at this. Right, unlike earlier system, the tax notice is not sent. The taxpayer doesn't have to go to the income tax office. They do not have to physically interact with the tax official. Everything is being done online now. And now can I simply say, this will reduce the harassment of the taxpayers? Earlier, a lot of harassment used to take place. Trust me when I say this. Earlier, lot of harassment of the taxpayers. Harassment in the sense, if you have gone to a government office, please tell me your honest opinion. Honest, by the way. When you have gone to a government office to approach a government official, how cordial they were with you. How friendly they were with you. Did they provide you the complete solution to your problem? Did they even allow you to approach them when you approach these officials? So generally, lot of harassments take place. Lot of harassment takes place. So government says, let's make it faceless. Faceless means the taxpayer does not have to go to office only. Let them reply to the notice online. Right? We will not allow the taxpayer to come in. Right? A physical touch, physical contact, that is face-to-face contact with the tax official. Right? So we will make it a faceless process. That is basically faceless appeal. Faceless appeal. So one is a faceless assessment, second one is a faceless appeal, and the third one is the concept of taxpayer charter. Third one is the concept of taxpayer charter. Now, what do you mean by taxpayer charter? It is simply a document. Taxpayer charter is nothing but it's simply a document. In the document, government is basically saying how what will be the duties of the taxpayers and what will be the commitments, that is what will be the promises of the tax department, how the tax department is supposed to behave, how the taxpayer is supposed to behave, right? Those are listed in a document called as a taxpayer charter. For example, please look at a taxpayer obligation part here. Just observe, what does it say? The document says the taxpayer should be honest. The taxpayer should always file returns with the government. The taxpayer should keep all the records. And if the tax official is demanding, asking for the records, all these records must be submitted to the official. These are the duties, these are the obligations of the taxpayer charter. And on the other side, what are the commitments of the tax officials? How should the tax officers, tax department behave? Right? The document says the tax department should not be treating the taxpayers unfairly. They should always, they should always start with the presumption that taxpayer is honest. Do not treat everyone like they are criminals. Right? They should be fair. They should be courteous. They should be provided with reasonable treatment. Provide certain mechanisms for appeal. They want to appeal against your tax notice. Provide a mechanism for that. Right? There should be a review for whatever process you are implementing, etc., etc., etc. So the taxpayer charter simply is a document. It is a document which provides you information regarding what are the commitments of the tax department and what are the duties or the obligations of the taxpayer. If you ask me, try to by heart 2 to 3 under both of them. Try to by heart 2 to 3 under both of them, so that even if a question is asked in UPSC, at least you will have a minimum amount of data with you to write answer. Okay, right? This is basically the concept of the initiative of Government of India honoring the honest. Next, last concept, by the way, concept of Laffer curve. Idea of Laffer curve. Now, what do you mean by Laffer curve here? Please understand, this is based on Mr. Arthur Laffer. This concept was given by an economist in USA, Mr. Arthur Laffer. And because the name is used, it is called as a Laffer curve. I'll explain it. Please listen first. Laffer curve provides a relationship between the tax revenue collected by the government with the tax rate. I'll repeat the statement. The Laffer curve provides a relationship between the tax revenue collected by the government with the tax rates. Right? Only two parameters. Tax rate, how it is going to influence tax revenue collected. Point number 1. Point number 2. Please make an observation. Can I say Laffer curve? Here, the graphical representation, Laffer curve is inverted U, alphabet U. It is inverted alphabet U. Anybody has a problem with this? When I say U, I'm not talking about this U. No, I'm talking about alphabet U. Inverted. The curve is a inverted U curve. Right? Point number 2. Come to the point number 3. Along the x-axis, the tax rates are represented, and along y-axis, the government revenue collection is represented. Point number 4, what is the meaning of it? Whenever the tax rates are increased, the government revenue collection will increase. There are two parts to the statement. Follow this carefully. Right? There are two parts. Whenever the tax rates are increased by the government revenue collection will also increase. But if the tax rate is increased after optimal tax rate, if the government will further increase the tax rate after optimal tax rate here is given in the form of T star. Can you see this? Here optimal tax rate is given in the form of T star. Optimal tax rate means what? The rate at which the government will collect the highest amount of tax revenue. Optimal tax rate is the rate at which government will collect the highest amount of tax revenue. So I'll repeat it again. Whenever government will increase the tax rate, the government revenue collection will increase. But if the government increases the tax rate after optimal tax rate, revenues will not increase, rather revenues will decrease. Now, why it will happen? I'll explain it. Anybody has a doubt in the statement? Why it will happen? Have patience. But anybody has a doubt in the statement? I'll repeat the statement. If the government will increase the tax rates, the tax revenue will start increasing. But if the government increases the tax rate above the optimal tax rate, revenues will not increase, rather decrease. Now, why? Question is why? Why does it happen like this? Now, before I tell you the reason, all of you will understand this particular point. We are making a simplified connection between revenue and tax rate. Let me know. We are basically making a very simple connection between revenue and tax rate. Now, please tell me, will Government of India's tax revenue collection depend only on the tax rate? Think of it. Very simple question, right? How many of you think that Government of India's tax revenue collection will be dependent only on the tax rate? Nothing else matters. Only tax rate will matter. Then if you say yes to that question, then I'll tell you what about pandemic. Some of you are saying yes, sir. My dear, let me throw a data at you then. Government will increase the tax rate during pandemic. Tell me, will government revenue start increasing? Let me know. Those who are saying yes, think of it and answer to my question now. If Government of India will increase the tax rate during pandemic, do you think Government of India's revenue collection will increase? So tell me, is it applicable? Is this logic applicable, right, in external or internal factors which are beyond the control, which are right beyond the tax rate? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. The matters is context. In what context are you talking about it? All of that will have an impact on tax revenue. So that is, understand this. This is a very simplified version. There are a lot of criticisms regarding this. Lot of criticism. Because we are trying to simplify tax revenue with the tax rate. But the tax revenue is dependent on so many factors. Tax revenue is dependent on so many factors. Right? That is the argument here. Right? Now, please understand why it will happen. Please understand why it will happen. Imagine the tax rate right now is 0%. Imagine tax rate is 0%. How much taxes will be collected by the government? Let me know. Imagine the tax rate is 0%. How much taxes will be collected by the government? 0 rupees. 0 percentage, 0 rupees. So we will start from origin. Right? Some of you would be thinking, sir, why is the line starting from origin only? Now is the logic clear? You'll have to start the graph from the origin only like this. From 0%, imagine it will increase to 5%. From 0%, it will increase to 5%. What will happen to tax revenue collection? Automatically, tax revenue collection will increase. From 5%, imagine this is made 20%. What will happen to tax revenue? Tax revenue will increase. Now, let's say hypothetically, I will write it, don't keep on asking. Let's say hypothetically, the tax revenue collection is highest at 30%. Hypothetically, the tax revenue collection is highest at 30%. Now, this theory says that if government will increase the tax rate from 30% to 35%, from 30% to 50%, tax revenue will not increase. Rather, tax revenue will start falling down. Why? The economist says the problem with the higher tax rate, when you cross this optimal tax rate, the problem with higher tax rate is now people who are working will start feeling the burden of taxation. People will start feeling the burden of taxation. That is, they will start saying that if I work more, I will pay more taxes to government. So what they will do? Their behavior will change. They will start replacing work with leisure. Understand the statement here? As per this theory, it says when the tax rate will cross optimal tax rate. And for those of you who are asking me, how do you decide optimal tax rate? There is no formula given by the economist. There is no formula. That is the second criticism. I repeat it. Those students who are asking me, sir, how did you come to a conclusion 30% is the optimal tax rate? Is there any formula to find it out? Absolutely no formula. There is absolutely no formula for this. The theory simply says, right, T star. No number is given. They'll simply say T star. T star means at any rate where your tax revenue collection is the highest, that you take it as an optimal tax rate. Right? Now, please understand this. Right? Can you simply come to a conclusion 30% is optimal tax rate in India? No way. Can you come to a conclusion 20% is optimal tax rate in India? No way, because tax revenue collection is affected by so many factors. Right? That is the reason. Right? Think of it. If this was actually true, if you knew, right, what is the optimal tax rate through a formula, don't you think government of India would have only one tax rate in India? Apply logic. Apply logic and let me know, does it make sense to you or not? If there was a formula, if there was a way to find out what is the tax rate where your revenue will be highest, if there was a formula, don't you think government of India would have already done it? We would have only one tax rate in India instead of 5%, 10%, 18%, 28%, etc. like this. So that is the criticism regarding this theory. It simply says you cross optimal tax rate, impose a higher tax rate, people will start feeling the burden of tax rate. They will work lesser, take more rest. What is the meaning of they will replace work with leisure? They will work lesser, take more rest. And if they are working less, their income will be lesser. If their income is lesser, taxes collected by the government will also be lesser. Now look at the highest rate here. Look at the highest rate. Why is it coming to the right, the x-axis again? Why is it connecting to the x-axis? Highest tax rate is 100%. Highest tax rate is 100%, which means whatever you are earning, government will take it away. Now please tell me, will you work? Think of it. Right? If whatever you are earning, government will take it away, 100% tax rate. Will you even work? Absolutely no. Right? You will not work. You will not work means you will earn 0 rupee income. 100% tax rate. Right? Look at the calculation. 100% tax rate on 0 rupee income. How much will be the taxes collected by the government? Government will collect 0 rupees. Right? So I hope now you have understood why it is in a form of an inverted U shape, starting at origin, again falling to x-axis itself. Again falling back to x-axis. This is basically a theory. Will it work out in real life? No, it will not work out. I've told you the problem already with theory. Right? It is making a very simple assumption. Tax rate will always be deciding how much revenue you will collect. That is not in reality. It doesn't tell you what is the optimal tax rate. It doesn't tell you how to arrive at optimal tax rate, how to decide what is the optimal tax rate. There is no formula. Right? So these are some of the concerns regarding the concept of Laffer curve. Why are we learning about this theory? Because questions have been asked by UPSC on this theory. Questions have been asked in UPSC on this theory. That is the reason you will have to learn these theories. Okay, done. So these are the various concepts related to taxation, right? A very big chapter we have covered extensively. Now, do not worry about all the concepts in taxation. Many of you will simply say, sir, this concept, that concept, should I read this tax, that tax, etc. Don't waste your time in reading all of this. Now, please understand, I'll add one more current affairs point here. Have you heard of windfall taxes? This is not given in the book, but understand what is the concept. Have you heard of a windfall tax? In case of India now, this is a very important concept or a new type of a tax implemented by the government. Windfall taxes. Now, what is this idea of a windfall tax? Please understand the meaning of the term windfall first. Windfall means you're earning more profits. Your profits have increased, but these profits which have increased is not because of your policy. Right? I'll repeat the statement. What do you mean by windfall profits here? What do you mean by windfall here? Windfall means your profits suddenly start increasing, but this rise in the profit is not because of your policy. It is not because of your activity. It is because of certain external events. Because of certain other events, you will start earning more profit. That is called as windfall. Now, please tell me whether this makes sense to you or not, whether this is windfall or not. I'll give you example. Follow this very carefully. Russia-Ukraine war. From the last year, this has been happening. Point number one. Russia-Ukraine war has been taking place for last more than 1 year now. Point number two. As a result of Russia-Ukraine war, what happened to the international prices of crude? Please tell me. What happened to international prices of crude? International prices of the crude actually went up, which means in the international market, fuel prices went up. Second point. Third point. We, that is Indians, right? Companies in India, right? Owned by government of India or private sector companies. Now we are purchasing crude oil from Russia. Correct? Russia is exporting crude oil to India. Anybody has a problem with this? If anybody has a problem, please do let me know. I will ask you to read newspapers carefully then. Right? Russia is exporting crude oil to India. Right? Now, remember this point. Whenever they export this crude oil, they are not exporting at international prices. They are not exporting this crude oil at international prices. They are exporting at discounted prices, at lower than international prices. Now you'll ask me why. Is it not a loss for Russia? Why are they exporting at lower prices? My dear, reason is simple. Many countries, for example, G7, many countries have imposed sanctions on Russia. They are saying we will not purchase oil from Russia, right? And we will not allow them to sell it to other countries. But India says, right, we do not recognize these sanctions. We will purchase from Russia. Now, don't you think Russia, in order to earn revenue by selling crude oil, will prefer to sell to India at lower prices? Yes or no? If Russia says no, I will sell it at 20% higher than international prices. If Russia says I will sell it at 40% higher than international prices, India says then I will purchase more oil from other countries. Why from you? So there is right this kind of a benefit for both of them. That is India as well as Russia. Russia is able to sell crude oil, earn money. India is able to purchase crude oil at lower prices. Now have a look at this. In the international market, prices of fuels have gone up, whereas in case of India, companies are able to purchase crude oil at lower prices. Now, don't you think there is a benefit for these companies if they start exporting to international market? That is, let's say Indian Oil Corporation will purchase a crude oil at a lower prices from Russia, and in the international market prices of fuels is very higher. They will export it at higher price. Yes or no? They will be able to purchase the input. Crude is nothing but raw material. They are purchasing the input at a lower price, and in the international market prices of fuels, that is diesel, petrol, etc., is higher. They'll be able to export it and earn more profit. Any problem with this statement? Please do let me know. Right? They are able to increase their profit because of the difference in the prices in two different markets. This is basically windfall. This is basically windfall. Now, Government of India says on this, right, because you are earning more profit, I will impose more taxes on you. I will impose more taxes on you. This is called as a windfall tax. This is basically windfall tax. Done? This is there in the current affairs. Please be very, very careful. Okay? Now, let's start solving questions. Let's start solving questions now. Read the question very carefully. Which of the following is not a feature of value added tax? Many of you, I'm pretty sure you have missed the term not here. Let's start. It is a multi-point destination based system of taxation. Statement correct? Yes. It is a tax levied on the value addition at each stage of transaction in the production distribution chain. Anybody has a problem with this? It is also correct. At every step, based on the value addition, we are imposing taxes. Same thing, value added taxation. It is a tax on the final consumption of goods or services and must ultimately be borne by the customer. Statement is correct. It is basically a subject of central government, and the state governments are only facilitator for its successful implementation. VAT was implemented by the center or states? Let me know. VAT as a concept, was it implemented by the center or states? VAT was basically a subject under states, not by the center. I've told this multiple times. State governments implemented VAT. So option D, statement D is wrong. Option D is the right option for this question. Okay, first point. It is a multi-point destination-based system of taxation. My dear, since yesterday, have I not given you the example of multiple sales taking place where taxes, that is VAT, is imposed and collected at multiple places? Please do let me know. And in the beginning today itself, today morning beginning, did we not come to a conclusion why VAT is a destination based taxation? Those are asking why it is destination. Did you not listen to the beginning of the class? Please tell me, did you not listen to the beginning of the discussion today morning? The state where consumption happens will basically collect the VAT. That is the reason it is a destination. It is a tax on final consumption of goods and services and must be ultimately borne by customer. What is wrong with that? Right statement, right? And whatever consumers will purchase, ultimately the tax burden will fall on the customer. Option C is correct. Okay. Okay. Next question. Okay, 59% are correct. Let's start. Some of you will say, sir, you have not discussed current account deficit. We'll discuss that, but don't worry. Right? I'll tell you. I'll tell you how do you generally find these kind of statements. What is or are the most likely advantages of implementing GST? It will replace multiple taxes collected by multiple authorities and will thus create a single market. Single market is national market. First statement is correct. It will drastically reduce current account deficit. I have not discussed current account deficit. We'll discuss that when I take up international trade. Have patience. We'll discuss this when I take up international trade. But more importantly, whenever UPSC will use the term extreme terms such as drastically, enormously, etc., most of the time statements are wrong. Right? As of now, please understand, I'm only saying we have not discussed current account deficit, but this second statement is wrong. Why? They use an extreme term enormously. And when we discuss current account deficit, you will only understand it, don't worry. It will enormously increase the growth and size of the economy of India and will enable India to overtake China. China's GDP is around 19 to 20 trillion dollars. India's GDP is around 3 trillion dollars. Now, please apply common sense and tell me, just because you're implementing GST, will you be able to increase your GDP from $3 trillion to more than $20 trillion? Does it make sense? If you say yes, sir, it will make sense, then why did you not implement it back in 1947? Why did you wait till 2017 to implement it? Because please understand the point here. GST as a concept is new for India. GST as a concept is new for India. There are more than 150 countries around the world who have already implemented GST. So for us, it is new, right? Only 5 years. But many countries have been implementing GST for many, many decades around the world. So GST is nothing new in the global market. It is new for us because we have implemented it from 2017. Okay. So third one, no, it will not help you to overtake China. Only GST will not help you to overtake China. So 2 and 3 are wrong. First one is correct. Right option is option A. Now, please understand, some of the students keep on asking English term to an economics faculty. My dear, you will have to understand some of them are asking what do you mean by advantage here, right? Please understand, we should not be starting CSAT English classes now. We should be discussing economics here. We should not be shifting to English classes. Some of you are asking, right, sir, what do you mean by, right, enormous? Enormous means very large. Don't you think enormous is a English term, not economics term, right? It is English term, right? So please increase your vocabulary then. My argument will be increase your vocabulary. Because please understand, whether you like it or you don't like it, you have English part in the CSAT paper. You cannot complain. You will have to improve it. Right? So second one is wrong, third one is wrong, first one is correct. The right option is option A here. Let me go to the next question. Okay, 52% have answered correctly. A higher tax revenue can be collected by imposing higher tax on commodities which have highly inelastic demand. Please tell me, if you impose a higher tax rate, what will happen to market prices? Let me know. What will happen to market prices? Market price will start increasing. And if the market price increases, the demand generally should change. But now the question is, does the product have a elastic demand or inelastic demand? Think of it. We have discussed elasticity earlier. Does the product have elastic demand or inelastic demand? If the product has a elastic demand with higher market prices, don't you think the demand will fall down by a large percentage? Yes or no? Right? Apply the basic knowledge of elasticity. If the market price increase by 1%, if the product has an elastic demand will fall down by 5%, 8%, 10%. So as a result of this, will government collect higher tax revenue? No. What if the product has inelastic demand, such as petrol, such as salt, right? What if the product has a highly inelastic demand? Demand doesn't change by much. So if government of India imposes a higher tax rate, demand will not change by much. Will the government collect more tax revenue? Yes. Right? First point is correct. Second point is wrong. Which are habit forming, such as tobacco products. Habit forming means which you will consume regularly. Regularly you will keep on consuming. Alcohol, tobacco, right, etc. So which are habit forming? Yes, here also if government imposes a higher tax, people will keep consuming them. Government will be able to collect more taxes. So 1 and 3 are right. Right option for the question will be option B here. And again, please understand, I can use elimination method, etc., etc. I can do this. But these are previous year questions. These are previous year questions. I don't want to keep on fiddling with them. If the same question is asked in UPSC as per the new pattern, please tell me if your concepts are clear. Will you be able to answer these kind of questions? Let me know. If the same question is asked as per the new pattern, only one statement is correct. Only two statements are correct. All the three statements are correct. None of the statements are correct. Again, understand this. I'll keep on telling every batch for the last 1 month. Whatever students have taught, I've been telling the same thing to everyone. I'll tell you people also same thing. Do not worry about options. With change in the option system, is it difficult? Of course, yes. Of course, yes, it is difficult. But if your fundamentals are strong, if your concepts are strong, even if the elimination method is not there, even then you will be able to answer the questions. So focus on understanding the concepts. Do not try to by heart concepts now. Okay. Now descriptive question. Discuss the rationale for introducing GST. Right? Discuss why did we introduce GST and what are the reasons why there was a delay in introducing GST. Now these are the three parts to the answer. Start with introduction. Define what is GST. Define what is GST. Now it should not be difficult for you to define GST. Right? So define what is GST. Come to the main body. What are the reasons why GST has been implemented? Right? You don't know the reasons now? Please do let me know. We want to address cascading effect. We want to promote ease of doing business. Right? The states and the center had multiple indirect taxes. We want to simplify this indirect taxation structure. We want to address the issue related to, right, let's say the transportation cost, etc., etc. All the features we have discussed, simply write them. Now, right, why there was a delay in implementation of GST? Why there was a delay in the implementation of GST? Point number one, don't you think if you're taking away taxation powers of the states, there will be opposition from the states? Let me know. If you're taking away the taxation power of the states, are you not going to face opposition from the states? So is it easy to implement within a shorter period of time? Second, after you take away the powers of taxation from the states, you will have to provide them compensation. So again, there is a lot of discussion regarding compensation itself. Third, When you're taking away the taxation power, don't you think some of the states will never accept to give away taxes on fuels? They will never accept, right, to give away taxes on, right, the alcoholic products, etc. Again, there is a negotiation, extended period of negotiation. And once you have decided to bring GST, now there is a next problem. What should be the authority now to take care of GST implementation? What goods should be taxed at 18%? What should be taxed at 28%? So don't you think there has to be a lot of work done before we implement GST? And that is the reason there was a huge delay in implementation of goods and services tax in India. Okay, right? So you have addressed all the parts to the question, right? Easily you can hit 250 words. Next one, enumerate the indirect taxes which have been subsumed. Enumerate simply means a list. List all the indirect taxes which have been subsumed under GST. Also comment on the revenue implications of GST in India. Now, first part should be very simple to you. Start with introduction, come to the main body. In the main body, please provide certain examples. And yesterday I told you, please by heart 2 to 3 from central government, 2 to 3 from the state governments. By heart and write them. List out the indirect taxes at center and state level. So first part, definition. Main body is listing out. There is one more part here, revenue implication. What are the revenue implications of GST? What are the revenue implications? Point number one, revenue implications is it will increase the number of taxpayers. It will widen the tax base. Anybody has a problem with the statement? It will widen, it will have an impact on the tax base in India. Second, it will have an impact on revenues collected by the central government as well as state governments. Anybody has a problem? It will have an impact on revenues collected by central government as well as state governments. It will have an impact on right, it will have an impact on what is the market price, revenue implication, market price. It will have an impact on what will be the tax burden on the customer, what will be the tax burden, right, on the manufacturer, etc., etc. So these are certain revenue implications associated with the concept of GST, which has been implemented since 2017, that is 1st July 2017 in India. Okay, right? So these are the two descriptive questions that has been asked by UPSC in the last 2 to 3 years, right, from the concept of goods and services tax plus taxation. And now please do let me know. Please do let me know, at least now, are you okay if I say GST as a concept is very much important for your prelims as well as mains? Let me know. At least now, when I say, right, when I say GST is very, very important for you for both prelims and mains, will you agree to me? In fact, I'll tell you the latest point also. Latest point. That is prelims of 2023. There was no question asked on GST in the prelims of 2023. Right? There was no question asked in the prelims of 2023 on GST. Now you will have to focus on mains, whether they will ask in mains on GST or not. Okay. Anyways, come to the next chapter now. Banking chapter. Very, very important. Banking chapter, very, very important. Okay. Now, this is the list of the topics. Do not by heart the list of the topics. We'll go one by one. Okay, we'll go one by one. So, this is the list of the topics that we'll be covering under the chapter of banking. Now, let me start with the basic idea. Let me start with a very, very basic idea. That is money. Now, everybody has money. Right? Let me know. Right? Everybody has money. You have money. I have money. We use money. But what do you mean by money? What is the meaning of the term money? Please remember, money basically is a mode or a medium of payment. It is a mode or medium of payment. This is the definition. It is a medium of payment. Or else they will also say money is a mode which is used for making transfers in the market. right? It is a mode, it is a medium which is right used for exchanging transfers in the market. What is the meaning of it? If you come to the market to my shop, you will pay money and you will purchase a bottle. Is it not exchange? Let me know, right? You will come to the shop, you will pay money and you will purchase the bottle. Are we not exchanging? Exchanging means I am giving you bottle, I am taking money. That is exchange. It is a mode of exchange or a medium of exchange. Right? So different definitions are given, but essentially that is the meaning of the term money. Now come to the second type directly. After that, I'll go to the first type. Come to the second type. What is the second example of a money that I've written here? The second type of money that I've written here is fiat money. Now, fiat money means what? I'm pretty sure all of you either have coins, currency coins with you, or currency notes with you. Some of you will have both of them. Nothing wrong with that. Some of you will have both of them. So you have currency coins and currency notes. Now understand this. Both are examples of fiat money. Both are fiat money. But what is the meaning of fiat money? Fiat money means the value of the money is decided through the order of the government. The government will decide what is the value of the money. For example, if you have 500 rupee currency note, who decided that that piece of paper will have 500 rupee value in the market? Think of it. You have a currency note, right? Imagine this is the currency note. On this currency note, 500 rupee is written. If you don't trust me, look at it. It is 500 rupee written in the center. Who decided that this piece of paper will carry a value of 500 rupee in the market? It is, of course, right, printed and issued by RBI. But can I say at a larger level, it is the government of India which will decide which currency note will have which value in the market. I understand you're saying RBI. Correct. RBI is printing and giving it in the market. But RBI is also part of government of India. So through the order of government of India, can I say that this piece of paper will have a value of 500 rupee in the market? Anybody has a problem with this statement? Anybody has a problem? Through the order. If the government will withdraw the order, if government says from tomorrow this piece of paper is not 500 rupees, what is the market value of this piece of paper? Can I say zero? Right? Government will say tomorrow this 500 rupee currency note, no, it will not carry the value of 500 rupee in the market. What is the value of that piece of paper? 0 rupees. Zero, right? It doesn't have any value. Sir, very difficult to understand. What is the meaning of it? Please check. In some of your homes, you might be having old 1,000 rupee notes. Right? You are moving the books on from this side to that side. Right? Your father was arranging certain goods from this side to that side. Right? Or let's say in a kitchen, in one of the right, let's say one of the bottles or in one of the boxes, you found old 1,000 rupee note. What is the value of this old 1,000 rupee note in the market today? What is the value? 0 rupees. Nobody will give you that value in the market. 0 rupees, which means through the order of the government, the value has been withdrawn. That is concept of fiat money. That is the idea of a fiat money. Now come to the first one. Commodity money. What do you mean by commodity money? A commodity, right? Now, what is the meaning of commodity? Please understand. Commodity is anything that is produced which will have market value. Simple. Commodity is anything that is produced which will have market value. For example, gold. For example, silver, bronze, right? Or for example, rice, wheat. All these are examples of commodities. So earlier, before we introduced fiat money, earlier we had commodity money. What do you mean by commodity money? Right? Commodity itself was used as a medium of payment. What is money? Money is nothing but medium of payment. So earlier, commodity itself was used as a medium of payment. For example, I will purchase, right, let's say 500 coconuts from you. I will give you 1 gram of gold. All of you agree with me? Right? Gold is a commodity. So commodity itself was used as a medium of payment that was called as commodity money. Now, please let me give you one example and please answer to this question. If I today understand this, if I make a coin which is of 1 gram gold, if I make a coin of 1 gram gold, what is the market price? What will be the value of this coin? Let me know. If I make a coin taking 1 gram gold, what do you think will be the value of this coin? How many goods worth can you purchase in the market using this 1 gram of gold? Can I simply say, whatever is the price of the gold, that will be the value of this coin? Yes or not? Please do let me know. You made a coin using gold. So whatever is the gold price, the value of the coin will be the same. Don't worry, sir. Taxes, making charges, don't complicate it. Can I say whatever is present in this coin, that that component will decide the purchasing power of this coin. Apply the logic to commodity money. Apply the same logic to commodity money. In case of commodity money, we are using gold. We are using gold coin to make payment. So what is the value? What is the purchasing power of this coin? Whatever is the value of the gold, that will be equivalent to the purchasing power of the coin. Right? That is basically called as intrinsic value. We are using gold that is present in the coin. So that whatever is the value of the gold, purchasing will also be dependent. The money will also have the same value in the market. Now come to 500 rupee currency note. Look at this and tell me, in case of 500 rupee currency note, what is the intrinsic value of this currency note? What is intrinsic value? Intrinsic value, my dear, intrinsic value. Right? What is content? What is the content in the piece of paper? That's it, paper. Some of us are saying 500 rupee. Right? Listen carefully first. Listen, intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is basically what is the component, what is raw material in simple terms. What is the value of raw material that you are using here? Right? In case of a gold coin, what is raw material? Gold is the raw material. At least now, are you okay with this? I'll start with example 1. In case of gold coin, what is the raw material? Raw material is gold. So whatever is the value of the gold, that should be value of the coin. But here, paper. Paper is, government says, useless. Government says paper is useless. So if government will withdraw the value of this 500 rupee note, what is the intrinsic value? Absolutely nothing. Right? Zero. An intrinsic value of fiat money, that is currency notes, is negligible. Many of the experts simply say it is 0 rupees because it is simply a piece of paper. That's it. It is simply a piece of paper if government will withdraw the order. Right? So fiat money has an intrinsic value negligible. Some of the experts will say 0. Whereas a commodity money, intrinsic value itself will decide what is the value of the currency. Done? Right? Now there is one more term called as liquidity. Last point, there is one more term called as liquidity. Liquidity means how quickly you can convert the asset into money. I'll repeat the statement. What do you mean by liquidity? Last point, I'll stop after this. How quickly you can convert this into money, asset into money. For example, please tell me, you have 100 rupee worth of gold on one side, you have 100 rupee cash on the other side. Which has more liquidity? You have 100 rupee worth of gold in one hand, 100 rupee cash in the other hand, which has more liquidity. Can I say cash? And let me know, can I also say cash has absolutely highest liquidity out of all the assets in the market? Right? The 100 rupee cash has highest liquidity, absolutely liquid. Why? You do not have to convert that into money. It is already in the form of money. Is it okay? You do not have to convert that into money. It is already in the form of money. Hence, cash, they'll say, absolutely liquid, highest liquidity out of all the assets. Right? So, these are certain important features related to fiat. Can we go forward now? Right? So, forward in the sense, right? That's it for today. If you have any questions, please do let me know. We will, right? I'll answer this. Otherwise, we'll stop the discussion for today. Alcohol has inelastic or elastic demand? My dear, you tell me. Alcohol has an elastic demand or inelastic demand? Alcohol has almost very near to inelastic demand. Demand will be very high irrespective of market prices. Can I prove it? Can I prove it? Right? During pandemic, sale of alcohol was stopped. But after certain time period, sale of alcohol was allowed, but state governments imposed higher taxes. Do you think demand came down for alcohol? No. Okay. Economics optionals. I've told you this already. Economics optionals, if your background is economics, only then think of taking economic optionals. If not, my suggestion, my sincere advice to you is leave it. Okay. In the end, snob appeal simply means people who have more money. People who have more money will purchase certain products because this is costly. Because this is very costly in the market. Prices are very high in the market. Okay? That is called as snob appeal. Other people will not be able to afford it because it is very costly. I have more money, I will purchase it. Negative opportunity cost implies loss. Intrinsic means what is the value? I've written here, please have a look at it. What is the value of the product? What is value? If you're making a coin using silver, please tell me, don't you think what is the price of the silver will be price of the coin? That is value, intrinsic value. RBI approved our currency in our country, but what does the government take for printing money? I'm not able to understand the question. Please rephrase it. Please rephrase it. I'm not able to understand the question. Liquidity simply means how quickly you can convert the asset into money. How quickly can you convert the asset into money? That is basically liquidity. For cash, you do not have to convert. It is already in the form of money. Hence has the highest liquidity. Inverted duty, I'll repeat it. Whatever taxes you have paid on the input is greater than the taxes that you have collected by selling the product. That is called as inverted duty. When we talk about GDP growth to be at 6% or 7%, is it nominal GDP or real GDP? If nothing is mentioned, right, nothing is mentioned, by default, it is real GDP. Sir, RBI anything take to government for printing money for our country? If RBI is using government presses, if RBI is using government facilities to print money, government will collect certain charges from RBI. Lots of problems in making notes for economics. What is the problem? If you tell me what is the problem, only then I can tell you solution. If you simply say problem is there in making notes, how do I understand it? Any articles to read from today's newspaper? I was able to read only Hindu newspaper today. In central page, I would recommend read article on semiconductors. There is an article on semiconductor in central page. And second article, there is one article on the concept of LPG subsidy. Again, central page only. read these two articles if you ask me from Hindu newspaper today. Okay. Okay. Done then. Done. We'll stop the discussion today here. We'll continue. We'll continue the discussion. Basically, with concept of money, right? Certain more examples are there with the concept of money. We'll start from fiduciary money tomorrow morning. Okay. So take care. See you tomorrow sharp at 6 a.m.